4 hours ago, something extraordinary occurred that defies all logical understanding. If the data is accurate, everything we think we know about space, physics, and technology may need to be completely rethought. At exactly 8:14 UTC, on March 26, 2026, the Deep Space Network in Goldstone, California, detected a signal that should not have been possible. It wasn't faint, distorted, or unclear. It was sharp, structured, and originating from a region of space that was thought to be void and lifeless. To understand why this matters, imagine a part of space that most people never consider. A zone 36,000 kilometers above Earth, known as the geostationary graveyard orbit. It's where decommissioned satellites are placed, those that have run out of fuel, lost functionality, or whose batteries have failed. In essence, it's a dead zone for lifeless machines. But today, one of those satellites came back to life. The satellite in question is NOAA 17, a weather monitoring system launched in 2002 and decommissioned years ago. For over a decade, it has been drifting in silence, its systems powered off, its batteries drained beyond use. The odds of such a satellite spontaneously reactivating are less than 1 in 8 billion. In simple terms, this simply doesn't happen. Yet at 8:14 UTC, NOAA 17 didn't just wake up, it surged back to life. Telemetry data confirmed a sudden and massive surge of electrical energy into the satellite's power system. But here's where it stops being strange and becomes unsettling. The energy did not come from the Sunday. At that moment, the satellite was in Earth's shadow, meaning solar input was impossible. The energy came from somewhere else. Scientists traced the origin of the signal, and every line pointed to the same object, 3I Atlas. Pause and think about that for a moment. This wasn't a random burst of cosmic radiation or solar interference. Observations from high-energy instruments, including X-ray monitoring systems, revealed a narrow, tightly focused beam of energy not scattered, but directed. This beam traveled 240 million kilometers through space, bypassing countless objects, and struck a single inactive satellite with astonishing precision. Natural systems don't behave this way. In nature, energy disperses, weakens, and spreads out over distance, but this beam arrived with pinpoint accuracy as though it had been aimed with intention. Right now, as the data is being analyzed, NOAA 17 is fully operational again. Systems that had been dormant for years are online. Data is streaming into centers like NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center, as though something or someone had remotely powered it up from across the solar system. This leads to a critical question that no one can easily answer. How does 3I Atlas, a celestial object likely to be a comet or asteroid, deliver energy across such a vast distance? 3I Atlas is not a power source, nor is it a transmitter, yet it has just delivered energy in a way that defies fundamental physics. How does space rock behave like a wireless power system? What we're witnessing is not just unusual, it directly challenges the laws of thermodynamics. More troubling still, it suggests that 3I Atlas is not merely passing through our solar system, it is actively interacting with it, and that interaction just reactivated a satellite that was never meant to function again. But reactivating it may not have been the main goal. What happened next implies that NOAA 17 didn't just turn back on, it was changed into something else entirely. Once NOAA 17 powered up, Mission Control's first instinct was to stay cautious. Engineers needed to determine whether this was just a temporary glitch or a delayed system response. But as the telemetry continued to stream in, that explanation fell apart. The raw data showed something extraordinary. This wasn't a slow recharge or a buildup of residual energy. This was a sudden, clean transition. At exactly 8 hours 13 minutes and 59 seconds UTC, the satellite's main power system registered 0 voltage. 2 seconds later, at 8 hours 14 minutes and 1 second UTC, it was fully operational, registering 28 volts. Such a dramatic shift doesn't happen naturally. A dead battery in space cannot be revived. After years in orbit, exposed to extreme conditions, the internal chemistry of a satellite's power system becomes inert. Even if energy could be sent to it, the system would reject it. But that's not what happened here. The satellite didn't just receive power, it accepted it cleanly and resumed function as if it had never been shut down. Now, consider the immense distance involved. 3I Atlas was about 240 million kilometers away at the time of the event. According to basic physics, any signal traveling such a distance should weaken dramatically due to the inverse square law. Yet, this signal didn't fade. It arrived strong enough to fully power a satellite, raising immediate skepticism. Some in the scientific community suggested it was a software glitch, a telemetry misread, or an internal error at NASA. But those explanations quickly fell apart. The signal wasn't detected just once. 3 independent systems across 3 continents, NASA in the US, ESA in Argentina, and Japan's Deep Space Network, all confirmed the signal. And they all traced it back to 3I Atlas. This is no coincidence. What matters now is not just the energy delivered, but how it was delivered. Satellites like NOAA 17 are built with safety systems to prevent overloads. If uncontrolled energy were sent to them, they would be damaged, not reactivated. For NOAA 17 to come back online, the energy it received had to be controlled with precision, and it was. The energy didn't just flood the satellite, it was modulated, pulsed at a specific frequency, matching the internal operating rhythm of the satellite's power converter unit. This wasn't just random energy, it was structured input, like a coded signal unlocking a door. The energy matched the satellite's design in a way that suggests someone or something knew exactly how to interact with it. This is no longer an unexplained natural event. It's not just a strange rock or a rogue signal, it is targeted interaction, a deliberate and structured communication that raises a multitude of questions. But it doesn't end there. What came next pushed the event even further into the realm of the unexplainable. At 8:45 UTC, the satellite did something even more astonishing. It moved. A satellite in the geostationary graveyard orbit doesn't move unless it has fuel or propulsion, and NOAA 17 had neither. Yet, at that moment, its gyroscope spun up, nearly 4,000 revolutions per minute. Without propulsion, NOAA 17 shouldn't have been able to change its position, yet it did. It aligned itself and turned toward 3I Atlas. This wasn't just a random drift, it was deliberate, and it triggered alarm at mission control. At 9 UTC, NOAA 17 began to transmit again, but this time it wasn't just telemetry, it was transmitting something entirely new. This wasn't just a satellite coming back online, it was becoming something else. And that's when the real questions began. Why was 3I Atlas interacting with NOAA 17 inches this way? What exactly was being transmitted, and more importantly, why?